Hey everyone, if you keep up with the latest Lost Ark news, then you've probably heard about the balance patch that happened last week in Korea. They have basically taken away our self buffs in order to make the class easier to play, but in return, lowered our damage a little bit. Stoops had a podcast with some of the top Korean streamers a few days ago to discuss the changes, and if you missed it, here's a summary of what everyone thought.
Whatever. Who are your biggest losers of the
The
patch?
one in shambles, right? I think it's Sophist. I just feel so bad. This is when I played this game, this is the first time I feel bad, and I always recommend every single class except Sophist now.
Sulfus, I don't know what they're trying to do with Sulfus. Every
confusing.
time, yeah,
Every
every
time.
time they balance patch Sulfus, it's like they kill the class and then they teabag.
Sulfus, they just bend over and just climb.
It's
Like
so
they
true.
need like a father over there, or like somebody, dude. Somebody needs. They're abandoned like by everybody.
Now, why is everyone so against these changes? They did the exact same thing to Scrapper, but for Scrapper it is widely considered a large buff. Let's have a look at what they actually did here and note the difference. Scrapper also had a self buff that they spammed to get a 27% attack power buff. It was removed for an overall damage increase of 24%. Now we have Soulfist on the other hand, where we had two self buffs, giving us 44% at a level 5 tripod on flash dep and 55% on energy release. But what kind of damage increase did we get? 30%. The only thing that wasn't nerfed was our awakening, which got a 55% increase to match the loss of energy release. With these changes, I feel like Smilegate is knowingly nerfing their damage in order to make them a pseudo support. Kinda like Gunlancer. Hence why they gave us a shield on energy release, because maybe people will actually want us in parties if we can shield them, right? Unfortunately, all Smilegate is doing is hurting the class by giving them half-assed DPS and a half-assed support ability. Now I'm sure most of you don't want to hear about Soulfist becoming a support, and honestly I love the class the way it is. But I do trust their vision on the future of the class because I think it'd be interesting to still do decent damage, but also have an option to lower our damage a little just to be able to run a more support-orientated build. In order for that to happen though, we need more than just one shield, which like I said earlier, is just a half-assed solution to a class that needs so much more. So you might be wondering, how would you do this? I typically don't like to complain unless I can offer some sort of solution. So you are in luck, because I have a couple of ideas to give Soulfist the utility they deserve. First, let's look at Tempest Blast. Because Soulfist is all about energy attacks, why not have their energy-based attacks have the option of buffing allies? No one uses this tripod right here. Change it into giving a shield or a small buff when allies are hit. This would highly reward good positioning and give Soulfist some more depth. Next skill that could become a support skill is Crippling Barrier. This one is simple, and just let it buff allies who are standing in it. If we really wanted to go deeper, we could even give it two new tripods. One tripod can turn the debuff skill into the buff, maybe a small stacking attack power buff, because, Crippling Barrier ticks 11 times, so it rewards you for staying in it longer. Now to get really advanced, the second tripod can turn it into a normal skill, which means instead of holding it, you push it once and it'll drop onto the ground. Now this gives us a bard-like skill where people need to stand in the buff, and once again reward us for good positioning, and hey, we could even DPS while we sit in our own buff. Cool, right? Now I love Soulfist, and I do love their current playstyle, but Smilegate needs to choose if they want them to be a DPS, then actually give us our damage back. Or if they want to move us into the support role, give us some real support abilities and not just a single shield. These are just my ideas, and if you have any ideas yourself, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them, and maybe one day Smilegate would love to hear them as well. So let's be that father to Soulfist that Zeals thinks we don't have.